Welcome to the In the Galaxy podcast with your host, Michael Gilkison, and your other host.
What's up, motherfucker?
In the mood for Drake. Drizzy Drake is getting reviewed later today, and as well as Balance and Composure. What's the name of that album?
The Things We Think We're Missing, and if you did listen to it, not
did.
you, Michael, not you.
Oh,
I
no,
know you
me.
listen to it. It's your fucking job. It's a fucking podcast. You better listen to the record. This is the record again for everybody to see it on beautiful vinyl. Because we were listening to Drake, because that was your record of this podcast, more than anything, I just wanted to go back and watch Degrassi after listening to this. I mean, that's something we need to talk about.
But let's get into technology first.
Well, no, hang on. We're just kind of introducing the podcast.
Okay.
We're just kind of talking about some other stuff.
Because we came up with a name for the podcast, In the Galaxy, so we could talk about technology in the galaxy, music in the galaxy,
Movies
in the galaxy.
In the galaxy. Boom, boom in the galaxy. Michael's doing some crazy fucking dance, and thank God
But
I'm
you
talking.
can't
so
see
you don't
it.
see
Yeah.
it well.
But maybe they might see it now. Do a little switcheroo.
Okay. Anyways, last time on the last podcast, we kind of talked a little bit about me and you and our background, so we need some time to kill because they already know that about us. So the fact that we're doing Drake, it does bring up kind of a backstory with you and I. Because we used to watch Degrassi together.
Yes.
That could be shameful, but you're the one that actually got me into Degrassi.
Yes.
Today, so
you want me to tell that story?
Tell me a little bit about Degrassi.
So me and Jay Williams, we played for Woodford County High School. Let's go Yellow Jackets. Yeah. And my junior year.
I hate our football team. Go ahead. Sorry.
We won't get into that. Haters gonna hate. Okay. And but anyway, a junior year of high school, I had shoulder surgery. I left my shoulder up really bad. I dislocated it all the time. So I had surgery my junior year in the summer. So I caught this show on TV, Degrassi, and I caught it from the very beginning. Now this is the one
that was on Noggin. It was on the Inn.
The Inn, yes, Noggin. Yeah. So I watched this show. And it was pretty good. It addressed stuff. It was like a kids show, but it addressed adoption, child abuse, ecstasy, raping at a party, school shootings. So
Canadianism.
Canadianism. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was. It was What are you talking about? And Spinner and things like that. So it was a really good show. That's what I did my summer where I got my shoulder cut open. And then I told Jay about it.
But those that don't know, I'm sure they do by now, unless you've been living under a very big rock.
That's
Drake,
what she said.
Aubrey Graham, as he was known, or Jimmy, the basketball player
Jimmy
on
Brooks.
Degrassi. Yeah, he was on the show, and what about him? He was kind of thug at first, kind of a bad boy basketball player, and he got shot in a school shooting, and then he was kind of emo.
His best friend sabotaged him.
I don't remember.
It was bullying. It was a bullying issue, and Jimmy, who is Jimmy's best friend, is sabotaged by Spinner.
Yeah, I don't want to get into all that bullshit.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's making me sad just remembering the fact that we even watched this lame show.
Degrassi in the galaxy.
No. And now, people on that show, he's a rapper. One of the girls is showing her titties all over the place, all over the internet. I mean, if she was showing those, if she was doing that back when we watched the show, Michael might never have come to school. Because he would. Never mind. I was gonna go in an area.
They can fill in the blanks, I guess.
Here's the thing. My mom texted me when this podcast went up, and she said that she was gonna watch it. And this is just like we fucking talked about last week about how I can't post certain things to Facebook. I can't say certain things on Twitter because I'm afraid of what person X or Y is gonna say. Well, now my fucking mother is gonna watch.
Hey, Kim Williams is a saint.
I love my mom. Don't say my mom's name on the internet, bro. Come on. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but
hey,
she's accessible on the internet or phone book or whatever. But
it's such a generic name too. But go on.
Yeah. I
Your
forget
mama? You were talking about your mama.
Well, it just, I don't know. It doesn't really
Did she
matter.
give you grief about something you said on the podcast last week?
No, not at all. She wouldn't care. I'm 26 years old. Even if she did, I'd be like, deal with it. Motherfucker.
Yeah,
Anyways,
so speaking of that,
yeah.
let's talk about Facebook likes since we're on
Okay.
technology and since it's kind of transitioning into that. Why don't you tell us your philosophy on liking things on Facebook?
Well, let's talk about my philosophy on Facebook.
Oh, snap.
Facebook used to be, I mean, people have seen the movie, I'm sure, The Social Network, but used to be a lot more exclusive. This is crazy to think of. Well, I guess not really that crazy because social networking in general has been fairly new in our generation. But I think Facebook's first year was either a year before we were in college or our first year of college. I was at Asbury, and
It's 2004, I think.
each college had their own Facebook pretty
Yes.
much. And I don't know, I don't want to get into all that, but I was really big into MySpace back then at
Yeah,
that
you
point. I mean, MySpace was like the place to be, and then that kind of died off. And I was into Facebook a little bit, but I don't know. Like I said, everybody got on it, and it was more the people that I added on MySpace were the people that were in kind of my close knit group of friends. Whereas Facebook is like every motherfucker you know and have ever seen. There's people that I see out at bars for like 20 minutes that'll add me on Facebook. I'm like, really, dude? Like, I don't want to know what you're doing for breakfast every morning. Just like,
Well, see, I would do that though. If I hadn't seen you in years and we weren't best friends, and I saw you at a bar and we talked for 20 minutes, I would probably add you on Facebook.
yeah, no, and I understand that. I mean, it's a way to, yeah, obviously it's a way to connect with people, and it's a way to stay in touch with people and figure out what's going on. But I mean, I just don't really do Facebook because it is so it's a little too interconnected for me. And like, I don't know, like there's a lot of people on there that I was friends with when I was a lot younger and stuff like that, which is fine. I mean, I still love all those people, and all those people are awesome, but they don't know me now. And I don't know, the people. I'm a big person on close knit friends. Like I have a handful of like really, really close friends, and I
Like
just
John
don't.
Ranstall. Where's John Ranstall right now?
He's gone again. He went to Louisville with
Oh,
his
okay.
family, but I don't know. I just haven't. I mean, I'm on Facebook. I check it regularly. I'm just not active in communicating with people on there, just because there's just a lot of people on there that I don't know. I am big on Twitter though. I'm Twitter fucking famous. No, just kidding.
I'm getting into Twitter.
Yeah, I do like Twitter. I mean, Twitter is cool just because I don't know. I just prefer Twitter, man. I don't know.
Well, see, I'm on the other end. I'm a Facebook guy, and the reason is because I don't know if it's about my personality or what, but I just like seeing what other people are doing. I didn't tell them last time that I lived in Australia for a year.
Mhm.
So I lived in Australia for a year. It was a good way for me to feel connected back with what's going on in Versailles and Lexington and Georgetown and in Kentucky, even West Virginia and my friends across the world and stuff like that. So it just kind of helps me to know, hey, what's going on? What's happening? And even I got some students in Australia that I added them on Facebook. And they post some funny stuff. So
Yeah, I get that. I mean, yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean, you're a little bit more spread out than I am, and yeah, I mean, I guess it's more a need for you to stay more connected with people and stuff. I will say this: I run I don't run, but I help run a soccer group. I'm a huge soccer fan. If you couldn't tell by my hat, big Manchester United fan. We're fucking terrible this year. I run like a soccer group of people in Lexington, and I promote that via people and try to get people to join our group and all that type of stuff and promote events. But that's one of the big reasons that I was so involved with social media, social networking to begin with, was because fresh out of high school and even when I was still in high school, was when I first started getting into like the music scene and promoting concerts. And, me being on Facebook or any social networking or MySpace was a way for me to get my message out there. And now I've been involved in a few companies. I have my own screen printing business right now and stuff. So that's another way to kind of get the word out and all that stuff. But in terms of
what a sexy design that's behind me right now. I mean, look at that.
Yeah. Don't
Facebook like it.
Don't let it be too glamorous, because it'd take me maybe a total of 15 minutes to do that. So,
but I mean, it's simplicity. It looks like something.
Absolutely.
It looks like something Apple would design.
Yeah, if there's anybody out there that is a designer or is into graphic design or trying to do graphic design, one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give any graphic designer is know when to stop fucking around with your design. If you've done something, if it took 2 minutes or if it took 2 hours, once it's on the screen and you say it looks good, stop messing with it, because it's not gonna. It might get better, but what looks good right now is gonna look good for a really long time. So that's why I don't try to be too flashy with stuff in my designs.
You heard it here from Jay Williams, folks, in the Galaxy podcast.
Okay, now to bring it back around to Facebook likes and stuff like that, what was your question in terms of liking things?
I guess it's more like my philosophy. Like if somebody, I really like this site called Daily Elite or Elite Daily. I can't remember which one it's called. I probably should remember. But anyway, there's a lot of good articles that people post on Facebook. So if somebody posts an article and I go out to the web and read it, then I'll actually like it. Now, let's say I haven't talked to this person in maybe 5 years, 6 years, something like that. Well, doesn't matter. If they put up something cool on the internet, whether it's a funny video or an article, then I'll like it if I read it. Because I feel like that's my way of letting them know, hey, I like what you're throwing up there. It's keep doing it. I like it. So that's why I do it, even if I haven't talked to them in a while.
Yeah. No, I think, I do like stuff on Facebook when if I'm on there and I'm actually spending time to go through something. If somebody makes like some quirky, smart ass comment that's like a good point, I'll like it. Or if sometimes I'll like stuff that people say that I don't even agree with, almost as kind of like a tongue in cheek type of thing. Like if they're like, oh, I support, fucking wood tables, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's smart. That's really good. But no, in terms of, does liking something benefit an actual post at all? Does it give an incentive? Does it boost the post or something like that?
Yeah, I think it makes it trend more. So if everybody's liking your status more, then it trends. Okay. The top of the feed.
Well, that makes sense. When I do these soccer events and I make a flyer for an event and I send it out there, in terms of a psychological effect, if I get 30 something or 60 something or 100 something likes on one of my flyers, then I'm pretty stoked about it. It's pretty cool that people appreciate it. It is showing a sign of appreciation. So I guess my lesson is like more people's shit. I don't know.
Well, you don't have to. That's the thing. We live in America, the land of the free and home of the brave, America.
That's true. What are your? I know the whole dislike button has been bounced around for a long time. What is your opinion on that?
I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, that's just an opportunity for people to fucking troll on the internet.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I could see some kid just sitting at his computer all day, just being like, "Man, I don't like that. Man, I don't like that. Man, I don't like that."
Yeah, I know, and
just saying that would probably be me. Just like that. I'd probably be that guy. Man, I don't like that.
The thing is, there's so much stuff out there on the internet. I don't really know where I was going at. I apologize.
It doesn't matter.
When I'm, shoot, I just lost my thought. Wait a minute, it's coming back. Come to me.
No, it's gone.
No, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's out of this galaxy.
Yeah. So in terms of Facebook, I know you're really active on Facebook and you've kind of been following along with how stuff's doing with the podcast and whatnot, which for the record it's all, I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope people listen to this and stuff. But more than anything, Michael, I just like fucking talking to you about stuff. So
Hey, yeah, I like talking to you too. And even
good,
though
good,
nobody's listening, I really don't give a crap.
good. So when we
Yeah,
turn these cameras off, we're gonna do naughty things to each other.
that's right.
So not really.
In this galaxy.
We've already had enough homosexual innuendos. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just saying.
We might have turned some people off.
I don't care.
That's what I love
It
about
doesn't
you.
bother me.
Is like you're kind of. I wish I had your personality more in the sense that you just don't give a shit, and
Oh.
I do. Like I wish I just gave less of a shit, for lack of a better word, because I always want to please people pleaser, and I guess that's what goes on. That was my point with Facebook is with the dislike button that would cause so much trouble because there's already people on there that'll get into a huge debate about a post. Somebody will make a post and they'll say, I think Obamacare sucks. And then somebody will come back, well, I think it's awesome. Well, I think you as a person suck. Well, I think you as a person suck. And it's just so much Facebook wars, you know. It's cray-cray.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about all this on our other podcast, Michael's Self-Help Today. Comes out every Tuesday on MilkyWayGalaxyProductions.com. Anyways,
GilkyWayGalaxy.com.
final thoughts on Facebook, I guess.
Yeah, I just appreciated all the love, all the Facebook love from people clicking on the videos and watching them, and for putting up with our shenanigans for our first podcast. So it's gonna be better. We're gonna tighten it up a little bit. But hell, I love talking to you, Jay Williams.
Good.
This is fun.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Kind of shift gears a little bit to something that I wanted to. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk super in depth about it, but this is the Music in the Galaxy podcast, and we are going to be reviewing some records. But I kind of want to talk a little bit about music and not just music, but media in general, and kind of technology, the role that technology plays in it. And I mean, basically,
Music, media, and technology presented to you by Jay Williams. Give us your thoughts, Jay.
Where I'm going with that is essentially, I mean, you have to think the whole industry of media in general has been completely flipped on its head. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but it's completely been flipped on its head in terms of how it's bought, how it's sold, how it's viewed, how it's taken in. Ever since those days of Napster. I mean, the internet is really responsible for it. But Michael, have you ever illegally downloaded a record in your life?
Never in my life would I ever dare
Really?
do such a thing.
I mean,
No, I'm just messing with you.
Okay.
Yeah, of course I have. Everybody
Okay.
has. We had Napster, Kazaa. I mean, now there's I shouldn't be saying this. I'm in Silicon Valley. People be tapping the line, dog.
I tell you, with that Drake record that we are reviewing or have reviewed, there'll be a lot of tapping going on, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do, and so does Drizzy.
I mean toe tapping.
Oh.
Anyways, so
Napster.
Well, basically, ever since the whole file sharing thing came about, the record industry, mainly the record industry. I mean, obviously, the film industry has suffered a little bit from it too, but basically the access to all this media is so vast now. It's so easy for people to record music on their own. I mean, you and I we record our own music.
Yeah, speaking of the teasers, to make a quick aside, Jay did the music for those teasers, which really would tease my ears. Go on.
Yeah. Anyway, so
sorry, buddy.
No, it's cool. So basically the whole idea of how we get music today. So let me just put it into perspective for you. Ever since iTunes came out, iTunes is a music store, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I was about to cough. I didn't want to disrupt the galaxy.
iTunes is a music store, and I don't know, Old Navy is a clothing store, right?
That's correct.
So the difference between iTunes and Old Navy is a brick and mortar store that you walk into. They have a stock of clothes. that you buy and this and that, and they have a product and this and that you buy. It's one store. iTunes is a store on the internet. It's a virtual store. They don't have to pay employees. They don't have to pay. They don't have to build multiple stores across the world. They don't have to stock their shelves. They have a product that's infinite, and I mean, I don't even want to even remotely pretend like I have an idea of how many different artists are on iTunes. Okay. So they don't have to pay for packaging. They don't have to pay for distribution. It's a 24-hour store that anybody can buy things whenever they want. So in terms of supply and demand, you have all of this great wealth of product. And this product is never going to sell out. You're never going to sell out of this product, okay? So you have a lot of supply and a lot of demand. People are wanting to buy it. Why are we still paying $9.99 or however much it is for a record? It doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense because, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I think artists should be paid, and they should be they should be allocating money for the work that they do on a daily basis. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's also the record companies too that are getting a chunk of that change.
Exactly, and that's the other point I was going to make is, I'm sure people who know a lot about music understand that record companies have been like leeches on artists for a really long time. There's a great book called Everything You Ever Want to Know About the Music Industry. I can't remember who wrote it, but if you want to know about the music industry and how bad record labels suck, read that book. It's amazing.
It sounds like it's everything I need to know about it.
It's true. That is. You can get that from the title pretty much. But I don't mean to ramble on about it, but I just want people to think about the fact that supply and demand and our whole idea of economics and how media in this digital age kind of play out, that we still pay so much for. I mean, in a sense, it's kind of going away. It's going to a more subscription base, things like Spotify, Netflix, and Hulu and stuff like that. You subscribe for a small fee. And so really you're paying for all the access that you're getting. It's a lot cheaper. So I think we're starting to figure it out, but I just wanted to bring that up for people to think about at home, people to read about, for you to think about, Michael.
Dropping your Nostradamus predictions again, dog. But where I could chime in two places.
Yeah.
One of them is about iTunes and just the importance that Apple played in kind of making a what's the word I'm looking for? A compromise between music for free and buying music. Right here. That looks funny. That looks X-rated. But so iTunes came in. They're like, all right, let's lower the price and this and that. So I mean, I read Steve Jobs' autobiography by Walter Isaacson. I'm not a huge book reader all the time, but man, I love that one cover to cover. So I mean, it definitely is changing. And you mentioned Netflix, and the cool thing about Netflix that's making me kind of realize how big this is getting is Netflix is a production company now. I mean, like, I have a production company, I'm a legend in my own mind pretty much, but they have raised enough money to fund TV shows, and not just shitty TV shows, House of Cards. Okay. They got Kevin Spacey from American Beauty. They gave this, I think, Oscar award winning actor. He's a singer even. I didn't even know he's a singer, but he can sing like Sinatra, dude. But, I mean, they're bringing enough bucks to bring in these big-name actors. So it's real money.
If you're not careful, Kevin Spacey will kill you and put your fucking head in a box, even if you are married to the singer Coldplay.
And then, poof, he'll disappear. Kaiser Sose.
I just ruined a movie for so many people, but that's okay because you don't know what movie I'm talking about. But
if you haven't seen the 7 or
wow, you just fucking ruined it. You just fucking said the name of the movie.
It's either 7, 12 Monkeys, Usual Suspects, or American Beauty.
Yeah, but every single one of those movies has been out long enough that
you should have seen it.
Yeah, you probably
unless you're like 15 and 19 years old. So.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I just wanted people to kind of I don't know, think about that type of stuff, and just know that media is changing, and again, the whole Netflix thing, becoming their own production company. You're right. That's a huge thing, man. That shows so much that a company that isn't backed by advertising dollars is willing to fund the money. I mean, for art, pretty much. I mean, yeah, they're making money off of it, absolutely. But I mean, the fact that they're making high quality. I think David Fincher. Did he have something? Do you know who David Fincher is?
The name rings a bell. I don't know.
He directed Fight Club. He directed the movie Seven. He directed The Social Network. And I think he had something to do. That's
yes.
Doing that.
I was popping my neck. Sorry.
Okay. That and I think he had something to do with House of Cards. But anyways, I just think it's really cool that it seems like more than ever this idea of art, which is it's a people's method. You know, I mean, it's a way of expression. It's a way of
preach it.
It's amazing. Art is amazing.
I'm with you.
But it became a commodity, which is fine. We live in America where anything can become a commodity. But there's this weird level where you have to say the lines get blurred between commodity. The lines get blurred between commodity and I guess what actually is art and this and that. I don't mean to get too crazy, but
no, I agree.
It seems like it's being shifted more towards the realm of art for the people and art for the passion. And you don't have to, I mean, there's a lot of bullshit art out there, but it seems like it's getting a little bit easier to kind of trudge through all the bullshit to find the stuff that's good.
But I mean, if we really want to dive deep into this and keep going further, I mean, really what defines art? I mean, so many things can be art. I came up with this quote the other day when people talk smack about, you know, Kanye West or Kim Kardashian or Miley Cyrus or even anybody on a reality show. I think true art evokes emotion. So anything that evokes emotion could be art. Good, bad, ugly. So it's really, how do we define art? I like to define our terms.
I mean, art is it's a philosophical idea. I mean, art is the same as somebody would, you know, it's like saying, what is the meaning of life? You know, I mean, well, life is whatever you get out of it, really. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to be a Greek, you know, philosopher or anything, but art in and of itself, whatever you decide is art pretty much. You know, this podcast could be art.
Yeah.
Anything, and I think your definition is great. I mean, something that evokes emotion, you know, for other people or for yourself, as long as you can, you know, express yourself in some kind of way. Yeah, I think it's definitely art.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like movies, music, we're seeing that shift. I mean, it's going away from more grassroots now, which I think is super cool because, you know, me and you with this podcast, it could blow up. It could be, you know, like really famous, or, you know, nobody could listen to it, or who knows. So, I mean, I think it's really cool that we could get together and just talk stuff out, because I really respect your Nostradamus-like observations.
Well, the one thing that always bothers me is when people say things like, "Oh, that's not art," or they want to critique. Like, I mean, I'm the biggest critic, or I like to really, you know, pick things about stuff just because I think it makes me better as somebody that creates art and stuff like that. You know, you have to judge what's good and what's bad in your eyes so that you move towards the good. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but when I first got into graphic design and making art, before I ever really started doing stuff, you know, to make money, or
which people should check out your website. Is it the Anchor Media site?
I mean, they can check it out if they want to, but I'm not really actively updating that because I haven't done any freelance work in a long time, but you can feel free to. What's
the website, Jay?
It's anchormediaonline.com. They can check it out.
Anchormediaonline.com. You could really, because I looked at it recently, and there's like the one with the letters shattering, and you explaining to me how you had to do every piece of a letter shattering off. I mean, it's just, that took a lot of skill and effort. That, my friend, was art. That was beautiful. Not to
Thank
get
you.
too
No,
gay. No homo.
I appreciate that. But no, just to kind of wrap up what I guess our topic, but before I ever started doing design work for money, one of the things that I wanted to learn was the difference between what was good design and what was bad design, in my opinion, because if I'm doing design work and I can't tell the difference, then why would somebody need to pay me money to do design work for them? And why would anybody ever want to trust my judgment as a graphic designer if I can't even dictate and confidently convey that this is a good design or a bad design? So, I spent probably an entire year just going through stuff and trying to emulate other things and kind of sharpening my axe, so to speak. But I don't know. We're getting a little rambly.
That reminds me of a short story about Steve Jobs when I was reading in his book. It was after he got ousted out of Apple, and it was before he started his next company, ironically enough, called Next. He paid that graphic designer $180,000 for the graphic design for Next. And Steve Jobs, he was a millionaire, of course, by then, but he still paid for that design just astronomically way too much money for the company he was doing. This guy, I can't think of the guy's name or what else he created, but it was like big name stuff we're talking. It's like Coca-Cola or, something like that caliber. So, I think the eye for detail that Steve Jobs had was really, just unique because he got the people to design. He got technology and art to kind of just marry each other in a way.
Oh yeah.
Hand in hand.
No. I don't want to get on some kind of crazy Steve Jobs horn blowing parade.
Yeah,
here,
maybe we could talk about that next time.
But I will say this. Steve Jobs, for all intents and purposes, besides the fact that I think he makes great products, I'm a packaging junkie. Like I love packaging of products. Like it's an art in and of itself. And I'm like notorious for, if I buy something that has a cool box or it's packaged a cool way, I keep that box for forever. I still have a MacBook Pro box back here. Actually, the MacBook Pro that I'm recording this.
And they put so much money into that. Maybe you could grab the box if it's handy if you want. And I could kind of dive into a story. My friend works for Apple that I was hanging out with this week, and he told me a cool story about when they were first inventing the iPhone. And it was like the space shuttle was how he described it to, build this first iPhone. Well, Steve Jobs gets it, and it was a plastic screen. So he pulls out the phone, and the screen was scratched up and this and that. And he was like, he said, and I quote, "What the fuck is this?" And then, it's scratched. And he said, "All right, I want you to make it glass. And it needs to be smaller too." And the engineers said, "We can't get it any smaller." So he takes this brand new iPhone, and it's like, after they revised it some, he takes it, he drops it in a fish tank, and it bubbles up. And he goes, "See that? There's air in it. There's room to make it smaller."
Yeah.
And just kind of a dick move.
That's okay. Sometimes you got to be, a dick to be an innovator.
Yeah.
Think about
Speaking
that.
of which, show us your box, Jay.
All right, speaking of which, that I'm a dick, or speaking of which, what are we talking about here? No, it's
nice box.
It's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing too crazy. It's not their best packaging work by any means, but it is a nice box. I don't really need to go into packaging.
Well, yeah, you could use that as like a laptop case. It's really sleek.
Well, I actually save my all my iPhone cases and do neat stuff with them. Like one of them, actually, here's one right here. I have this iPhone case. Also holds my pens. It's just nice packaging. It's really solid. I don't know. We don't need to be talking about packaging right now.
And the Steve Jobs book also, I know we got to talk about music soon. But the way they invented the mouse, this is another cool story, is that they got a small little jewelry box And you know the roll-on deodorant for Ban, like the
Yeah.
little ball? Well, they took the jewelry box, they put it over the ball of the deodorant, and that's how they were able to invent the mouse.
Mhm.
And the cool thing about this is you've heard of Andy Warhol, right, Jay? The guy that's several different,
Yeah, of course
colors.
I've heard of Andy Warhol. Yes,
I didn't want to be an a-hole and talk about Warhol. No.
that's
But
okay.
Andy Warhol was at a party for John Lennon's one of his kids, and this was in the early '80s. Steve Jobs, John Lennon, and Andy Warhol was there. So Steve Jobs got John Lennon's kid a new Apple computer, and the kid was playing with Paint, the software program Paint on the computer, and Andy Warhol went and he tried to learn how to use the mouse, and instead of like using it like we're all used to doing, he picked it up and he's like shaking, he's like doing stuff with it in the air, and the kid has to show him how to use the mouse. This is
Yeah.
Andy Warhol. So I just wanted to throw that in.